did not want his mother to suffer any difficulty from the demon. Therefore, because he is the source of everything, Janmadasya Yata, he assumed the heaviness of the entire universe. The child was on the lap of Masoda, who was therefore in possession of everything in the world. But when the child assumed such heaviness, she had to put him down in order to give Trinavrata Sura an opportunity to take him away and play with him for some time before the child returned to the lap of his mother. Okay, so that was a certain type of transcendental pastime. Text 19. Feeling the child to be as heavy as the entire universe, and therefore being anxious, thinking that perhaps the child was being attacked by some other ghost or demon, the astonished Mother Yasoda put the child down on the ground and began to think of Narayana. Foreseeing disturbances, she called for the Brahmanas to counteract this heaviness. And then she engaged in her other household affairs. She had no alternative than to remember the lotus feet of Narayana, for she could not understand that Krishna was the original source of everything. Mother Yasoda, purport by Srila Prabhupada. Mother Yasoda did not understand that Krishna is the heaviest of all heavy things, and that Krishna rests within everything. Matstani Sarvabhutani, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9.4, Mayatam Midam Sarvam Jagat Avyaktamurtina. Krishna is everywhere in his impersonal form, and everything rests upon him. Nonetheless, Nachaham Tesu Avastita, Krishna is not everywhere. Mother Yasoda was unable to understand this philosophy because she was dealing with Krishna as his real mother by the arrangement of Yogamaya. Not understanding the importance of Krishna, she could only seek shelter of Narayana for Krishna's safety and call the Brahmanas to counteract the situation. Text number 20. While the child was sitting on the ground, a demon named Trinavrata, who was a servant of Kamsa's, came there as a whirlwind at Kamsa's instigation and very easily carried the child away into the air. Well, that's going to cause a lot of stress for Mother Yasoda. Purport: Krishna's heaviness was unbearable for the child's mother. But when Trinavarta Sura came, he immediately carried the child away. This was another demonstration of Krishna's inconceivable energy. When the Trinavarta demon came, Krishna became lighter than the grass so that the demon could carry him away. This was Ananda Chinmaya Rasa, Krishna's blissful transcendental pleasure. Text 21. Covering the whole land of Gokula with particles of dust, the demon, acting as a strong whirlwind, covered everyone's vision and began vibrating everywhere with a greatly fearful sound. Oh, that sounds terrible. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srinavartasura assumed the form of a whirlwind and covered with a dust storm the whole tract of land known as Gokula, so that no one could see even the nearest thing. Text 22. For a moment, the whole pasturing ground was overcast with dense darkness from the dust storm, and Mother Yasoda was unable to find her son where she had placed him. Text 23. Because of the bits of sand thrown about by Trinavarta, the people could not see themselves or anyone else, and thus they were illusioned and disturbed. Text 24. Because of the dust storm stirred up by the strong whirlwind, Mother Yasoda could find no trace of her son, nor could she understand why. Thus, she fell down on the ground like a cow who has lost her calf and began to lament very, very pitifully. Text 25. When the force of the dust storm and the wind subsided, Yasoda's friends, the other gopis, approached Mother Yasoda, hearing her pitiful crying. Not seeing Krishna present, they too felt very much aggrieved and joined Mother Yasoda in crying, their eyes full of tears. Wow. Purport. This attachment of the gopis to Krishna is wonderful and transcendental. The center of all the activities of the gopis was Krishna. When Krishna was there, they were happy. And when Krishna was not there, they were unhappy. Thus, when Mother Yasoda was lamenting Krishna's absence, the other ladies also began to cry. Text 26. Having assumed the form of a forceful whirlwind, the demon Trinavarta took Krishna very high in the sky. But when Krishna became heavier than the demon had to stop his force and could go no further. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Here is a competition in yogic power between Krishna and Trinavarta Asura. By practicing mystic yoga, Asuras generally attain some perfection in the 8 siddhis or perfections, namely Anima, Lagima, Mahima, Prapti, Prakamya, Isitva, Vasitva, and Kama Vasaita. But although a demon may acquire such powers to a very limited extent, he cannot compete with the mystic power of Krishna. For Krishna is Yogeshwara, the source of all mystic power. Yatra Yogeshwaro Hari. No one can compete with Krishna. Sometimes, of course, having acquired a fragment portion of Krishna's mystic power, Asuras demonstrate their power to the foolish public and assert themselves to be God, not knowing that God is the supreme Yogeshwara. Here also we see that Trinavarta assumed the Mahima Siddhi and took Krishna away as if Krishna were an ordinary child. But Krishna also became a mystic, Mahima Siddhi, when Mother Yasoda was carrying him, he became so heavy that his mother, who was usually accustomed to carrying him, could not bear him and had to place him down on the ground. But Srinavrata, second. Thus Srinavrata had been able to take Krishna away in the presence of Mother Yasoda. But when Krishna, high in the sky, assumed the Mahima city, the demon, unable to go further, was obliged to stop his force and come down according to Krishna's desire. One should not, therefore, compete with Krishna's mystic power. That's good advice. Devotees automatically have all mystic power, but they do not like to compete with Krishna. Instead, they fully surrender to Krishna, and their yogic power is demonstrated by Krishna's mercy. Devotees can show mystic yoga so powerful that a demon could not even dream of it, but they never try to demonstrate it for their personal sense gratification. Whatever they do is for the service of the Lord, and therefore they are always in a position superior to that of the demons. There are many karmis, yogis, and jnanis who artificially try to compete with Krishna, and thus ordinary foolish people who do not care to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from the authorities consider some rascal yogi to be Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the present moment, there are many so-called Babas who present themselves as incarnations of God by showing some insignificant mystic wonder. And foolish people regard them as God because of lacking knowledge of Krishna. Okay, so much for the Babas. Text 27. Because Krishna's weight, Srinavrata considered him to be like a great mountain or a hunk of iron. But because Krishna had caught the demon's neck, the demon was unable to throw him off. He therefore thought of the child as wonderful, since he could neither bear the child or cast aside the burden. Srinavrata intended to take Krishna up in the sky and kill him. But Krishna enjoyed the pastime of riding on Srinavrata's body and traveling for a while in the sky. Thus, Srinavrata's attempt to kill Krishna failed, while Krishna, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Vigraha, enjoyed this pastime. Now, since Srinavrata was falling because of Krishna's heaviness, he wanted to save himself by throwing Krishna off from his neck. But he was unable to do so because Krishna held him very tightly. Consequently, this would be the last time for Srinavrata's yogic power. However, now he was going to die by the arrangement of Krishna. Text 28. With Krishna grasping him by the throat, Srinavrata choked, unable to make even a sound or even to move his hands and legs, his eyes popping out. The demon lost his life and fell along with the little boy down to the ground of Raja. Text 29. When the gopis who had gathered were crying for Krishna, the demon fell from the sky onto a big slab of stone. His limbs dislocated, as if he had been pierced by the arrow of Lord Shiva, like Tripurasura. Purport. In transcendental life, as soon as devotees of the Lord merge into lamentation, they immediately experience the Lord's transcendental activities and merge in transcendental bliss. Actually, such devotees are always in transcendental bliss, and such apparent calamities provide a further impetus for that bliss. Text 30. The gopis immediately picked Krishna up from the chest of the demon and delivered him, free from all inauspiciousness, to Mother Yasoda. Because the child, although taken into the sky by the demon, was unhurt and now free from all danger and misfortune, the gopis and cowherd men, headed by Nanda Maharaja, were extremely happy. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The demon fell flat from the sky, and Krishna was playing on his chest, very happily. Uninjured and free from misfortune, not at all disturbed because of being taken high in the sky by the demon. Krishna was playing and enjoying. This is Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Vigraha. In any condition, Krishna is Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. He has no happiness. Others might have thought that he was in difficulty, but because the demon's chest was sufficiently broad to play on, the baby was happy in all respects. It was most astonishing that although the demon went so high in the sky, the child did not fall down. Therefore, the child had been saved virtually from the mouth of death. Not that he was saved, all the inhabitants of Vrindavana were happy. Now that he was saved, all the inhabitants of Vrindavana were happy. Text number 31. It is most astonishing that although this innocent child was taken away by the Rakshasa to be eaten, oh my God, eaten, he has returned without having been killed or even injured, because this demon was envious, cruel, and sinful. He has been killed for his own sinful activities. This is the law of nature. An innocent devotee is always protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And a sinful person is always vanquished for his sinful life. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Krishna consciousness life means innocent devotional life. And a sadhu is one who is fully devoted to Krishna, as confirmed by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita 9.30. Bhajate vam ananyabhak sadhu eva samantavya. Anyone fully attached to Krishna is a sadhu. Nanda Maharaja and the gopis and other cowherd men could not understand that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. playing as a human child, and that his life was not in danger under any circumstances. Rather, because of their intense parental love for Krishna, they thought that Krishna was an innocent child and had been saved by the Supreme Lord. In the material world, even material was okay. In the material world, because of intense lust and desire for enjoyment, one becomes implicated in sinful life more and more. Kama esa, krodha esa, rajaguna, samudbhava. Therefore, the quality of fear is one of the aspects of material life. Ahara nidra bhaya maitunam cha. But if one becomes Krishna conscious, the process of devotional service, Shravanam Kirtanam, dismisses one's polluted life of material existence, and one is purified and protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shinbratam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtan. In devotional life, one has faith in this process. Such faith is one of the 6 kinds of surrender. Rakshishyayiti Vishwasa Hari Bhakti Vilasa 11,676. One of the possessors of Corinthian, one of the processes of surrender is that one should simply depend on Krishna. Wonderful statement. Convinced that he will give one all protection, that Krishna will protect his devotee is a fact. And Nanda Maharaj and the other inhabitants of Vrindavana accepted this very simply, although they did not know that the Supreme Lord himself was present before them, and there have been many instances in which a devotee like Prahlad Maharaj or Dhruva Maharaj has been put in difficulty, even by his father, but has been saved under all circumstances. Therefore, our only business is to become Krishna conscious and depend fully on Krishna for all protection. Okay, that's a very profound statement. Therefore, our only business is to become Krishna conscious and depend fully on Krishna for all protection. And Krishna declares that he will protect his devotee. So therefore, a devotee should not have any fear or doubts about Krishna's promise. Text 32. Nanda Maharaja and the others said, we must previously have performed austerities for a very long time, worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, perform pious activities for public life, constructing public roads and wells, and also giving charity as a result, of which this boy, although faced with death, has returned, given to happiness to his relatives. He has returned to give happiness to his relatives. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Nanda Maharaja confirmed that by pious activities one can become a sadhu, so that one will be happy at home and one's children will be protected. And Shastra, where there are many injunctions for karmis, and jnanis, especially for karmis, by which they can become pious and feel happy. Even in material life, according to Vedic civilization, one should perform activities for the benefit of the public, such a constructing public, such as constructing public roads, planting trees on both sides of the road so that people can walk in shade and in the stage. Uh, yeah, and finish the stage. Um, okay, so let me start over again. According to Vedic civilization, one should perform activities for the benefit of the public, such as constructing public roads, planting trees on both sides of the road so that people can walk in the shade, and constructing public wells so that everyone can take water without difficulty. One should perform austerity to control one's desires, and one must simultaneously worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, one becomes pious, and as a result, one is happy even in material conditions of life. Wow, nice statement. Text 33. Having seen all these incidents in Brihadvana, Nanda Maharaj became more and more astonished, and he remembered the words spoken to him by Vasudeva in Mathura. Text 34. One day, Mother Yasoda, having taken Krishna up and placed him on her lap, was feeding him milk from her breast with material affection. The milk was flowing from her breast, and the child was drinking it. Text 35 and 36. O King Parikshit, when the child Krishna was almost finished drinking his mother's milk, and Mother Yasoda was touching him and looking at his beautiful, brilliantly smiling face, the baby yawned, and Mother Yasoda saw in his mouth the whole sky, the higher planetary system, and the earth, the luminaries in all directions, the sun, the moon, fire, air, the seas, islands, mountains, rivers, forests, and all kinds of living entities, moving and non-moving. Wow. All that in little baby Krishna's mouth. It's unbelievable. Okay. Purports. By the arrangement of Yogamaya, Krishna's pastimes with Mother Yasoda were all regarded as ordinary. So here was an opportunity for Krishna to show his mother that the whole universe is situated within him. In his small form, Krishna was kind enough to show his mother the Virat Rupa, the universal form, so that she could enjoy seeing what kind of child she had on her lap. The rivers have been mentioned here as the daughters of the mountain. Nagams tad duhiti. It is the flowing of the rivers that makes big forests possible. There are living entities everywhere. Some of them move very, some of them move. There are living entities everywhere, some of them moving and some of them not moving. No place is vacant. This is a special feature of God's creation. text 37. Are we almost finished?
We have some time.
Yes. When Mother Yasoda saw the whole universe was in the mouth of her child, her heart began to throb, and in astonishment, she wanted to close her restless eyes. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Because of her pure material love, Mother Yasoda thought that this wonderful child, playing so many tricks, must have had some disease. She did not appreciate the wonders shown by her child. Rather, she wanted to close her eyes. She was expecting another danger, and therefore her eyes became restless like those of a deer cub. This was all the arrangement of Yogamaya. The relationship between Mother Yasoda and Krishna is one of pure love. Pure material love. In that love, Mother Yasoda did not very much appreciate the display of love, display of the supreme personality of Godhead's opulences. At the beginning of this chapter, two extra verses sometimes appear. Evam bahuni karmani gopanam sam sa yositam nandas ya gehe vavide kurvan Vishnu Janardana. In this way, the chaste and the chast to chastise, in this way, to chastise and kill the demons, the child Krishna demonstrated many activities in the house of Nanda Maharaja, and the inhabitants of Raja enjoyed these incidents. Evam sa babride Vishnur, Nanda gehe Janardana, Kurvan anisam anandam, Gopalanam sa yositam. To increase the transcendental pleasure of the Gopas and the Gopis, Krishna, the killer of all demons, was thus raised by his father and mother, Nanda and Yasoda. Shripad Vijaya Dwaja Tirtha also adds another verse after the third verse in this chapter. Vistareneha karunyat sarva papa pranasanam vaktum arhasi dharma jana daya lus from iti prabhu. Parikshit Maharaj then requested Sukadeva Goswami to continue speaking such narrations about the pastimes of Krishna, so that the king could enjoy from them transcendental bliss. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 10th canto, the 10th canto, 7th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Killing of the Demon Srina Vrata Haribol. Chapter 8. Lord Krishna shows the universal form within his mouth. The summary of the 8th chapter is as follows. This chapter describes the ceremony of giving a name to Krishna. It also describes his crawling, his playing with the cows, and his eating earth, and again showing the universal form to his mother. One day, Vasudeva sent for Garga Muni, the family priest of the Yadu Vamsa, And thus Gargamuni went to the house of Nanda Maharaj, who received him very well and requested him to give names to Krishna and Balarama. Gargamuni, of course, reminded, reminded Nanda Maharaja that Kamsa was looking for the son of Devaki and said that if he performed the ceremony very gorgeously, the ceremony would come to the notice of Kamsa, who would then suspect that Krishna was the son of Devaki. Nanda Maharaja therefore requested Gargamuni to perform his ceremony without anyone's knowledge. And Gargamuni did so because Gargamuni had the sense of Vahini. Yeah. Because Balarama, the son of Rohini, increases the transcendental bliss of others. His name is Rama, and because of his extraordinary strength, he is called Baladeva. He attracts the Yadus to follow his instructions, and therefore his name is Sakarsana. Krishna, the son of Yasoda, previously appeared in many other colors, such as white, red, and yellow. He had he had uh, one second. Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, previously appeared in many other colors, such as white, red, and yellow, and he had now assumed the color black. Because he was sometimes the son of Vasudeva, his name is Vasudeva, according to his various activities and qualities. He has many other names. After thus informing Nanda Maharaja and completing the name-giving ceremony, Gargamuni advised Nanda Maharaja to protect his son very carefully, and then departed. Sukadeva Goswami next described how the two children crawled and walked on their small legs, playing with the cows and calves, and uh, and playing. Let's see. Sukadeva Goswami next described how the two children crawled, walked on their small legs, played with the cows and calves, stole butter and other milk products, and broke the butter pots. In this way, he described many naughty activities of Krishna and Balarama. The most wonderful of these occurred when Krishna's playmates complained to Mother Yasoda that Krishna was eating earth. Mother Yasoda wanted to open Krishna's mouth to see the evidence so that she could chastise him. Sometimes she assumed the position of a chastising mother, and at the next moment she was overwhelmed with maternal love. After describing all this to Maharaj, Parikshit, Sukadeva Goswami Sukadeva Goswami, at Maharaja Parikshit's request, praised the fortune of Mother Yasoda and Nanda. Nanda and Yasoda were formerly Drona and Dara, and by the order of Brahma, they came to this earth and had the Supreme Personality of Godhead as their son. Text 1. Sukadeva Sukadeva Goswami said, O Maharaj Parikshit, the priest of the Yadu dynasty, namely Gargamuni, who was highly elevated in austerity and penance, was then inspired by Vasudeva to go see Nanda Maharaja at his home. Text 2. When Nanda Maharaja saw Gargamuni present at his home, Nanda was so pleased that he stood up to receive him with folded. Although seeing Gargamuni with his eyes, Nanda Maharaja could appreciate that Gargamuni was a hokshaja. That is, he was not an ordinary an ordinary person seen by material senses. Text 3. When Gargamuni had been properly received as a guest and was very comfortably seated, Nanda Maharaj submitted with gentle and submissive words. Dear sir, because you are a devotee, you are full in everything. Yet my duty is to serve you. Kindly order me. What can I do for you? Text 4. O my Lord, O great devotee, persons like you move from one place to another, not for their own interest, but for the sake of poor-hearted grihastas, householders. Otherwise, they have no interest in going from one place to another. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As factually stated by Nanda Maharaja, Gargamuni, being a devotee, had no needs. Similarly, when Krishna comes, he has no needs, for he is Purna, Atmarama. Nonetheless, he descends to this earth, he descends to this material world to protect the devotees and vanquish miscreants. Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya chatuspritam. This is the mission of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and devotees also have the same mission. One who executes this mission of para upakara, performing welfare activities for the people in general, is recognized by Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as being very, very dear to him. Nachatasman manusyesu kashchid me priya kritama. Similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has advised this para upakara, and he has especially advised the inhabitants of India. Bharatapumite haila manusya janmayara janmasartaka karikara para upakara. One who has taken his birth as a human being in the land of India, Bharata Varsha, should make his life successful and work for the benefit of all other people. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 9.41. On the whole, the duty of pure Vaishnava devotees is to act for the welfare of others. Nanda Maharaja could understand that Gargamuni had come for this purpose, and that his own duty now was to act according to Gargamuni's advice. Thus he said, please tell me what is my duty. This should be the attitude of everyone, especially the householder. Okay, very important statement here. The Varnashrama society is organized into 8 divisions. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, that's 4. Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa, that's another um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. The Varnashram society is organized into 8 divisions. There it is. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. Okay. 8 divisions. Nanda Maharaja represented himself as Grihinam, a householder. A brahmachari factually has no needs, but Grihi, the householders, are engaged in sense gratification. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 2:44, Bodhaishvarya prasaktanam taya parata chetasam. Everyone has come to this material world for sense gratification, and the position of those who are not too attached to sense gratification and who therefore accept the Grihastha ashrama is very precious. Since one in this material world is searching for sense gratification, Grihasthas are required to be trained as great Mahatmas. Therefore, Nanda Maharaja especially used the word Mahat Vachanam. Like Nanda Maharaja, as a Grihastha, was always perfectly ready to receive instructions from a Mahatma to gain the real benefit in life. Thus, he was ready to execute Bhagamuni's orders. Text 5. O great saintly person, you have compiled the astrological knowledge by which one can understand past, present, and unseen, past, present, past and present unseen things. By the strength of this knowledge, any human being can understand what he has done in his past and how it affects his present life. This is known to you. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The word destiny is now defined. Unintelligent persons who do not understand the meaning of life are just like animals. Animals do not know the past, present, and future of life, nor are they able to understand it. But a human being can understand this, and if he is sober. Therefore, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 2.13, Dhiras Tatra Namuyati, a sober person is not bewildered. The simple truth is that although life is eternal, in this material world, one changes from one body to another. Foolish people, especially to this age, do not understand this simple truth, Krishna says. Dehinosmin yata dehe, kumaran yuvanam jara, tata dehantara praktir diras, tatra namuyati. As the embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. Bhagavad Gita 2.13. Krishna, the greatest authority, says that the body will change. And as soon as the body changes, one's whole program of work changes also. Today, I am a human being or a great personality of Godhead, but with little development, but with a little deviation from nature's law, I shall have to accept a different type of body. Today, I am a human being, but tomorrow I may become a dog. And then whatever activities I have performed in this life will be a failure. This simple truth is now rarely understood, but one who is a Dira can understand this. Those in this material world for material enjoyment should know that because their present position will cease to exist, they must be careful in how they act. This is also stated by Rishabhadeva. Na sadhumanye yata atmano yam asan api klesida atadeha. Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.5. Although this body is temporary, as long as we have to live in this body, we must suffer. Whether one has a short life or a long life, one must suffer threefold miseries of life, of material life, threefold miseries of material life. Therefore, any gentleman, Dira, must be interested in Jyotisha astrology. Now we're getting into some nitty-gritty stuff. Nanda Maharaj was trying to take advantage of the opportunity afforded to Garga Muni's presence. For Garga Muni was a great authority in this knowledge of astrology, by which one can see the unseen events of past, present, and future. It is the duty of a father to understand the astrological position of his children and do what is needed for their happiness. Now, taking advantage of the opportunity afforded by the presence of Garga Muni, Nanda Maharaja suggested that Garga Muni prepare a horoscope for Nanda's two sons, Krishna and Balarama. Boy, this is going to be interesting. Text 6. My Lord, you are the best of the Brahmanas, especially because you are fully aware of the Jyoti Shastra, the astrological science. Therefore, you are naturally the spiritual master of every human being. This being so, since you have kindly come to my house, kindly execute the reformatory activities for my two sons. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 4:13, Chaturvanya Mayasristam Guna Karmas Vibhagasa. The four Varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, must be present in society. The Brahmanas are required for the guidance of the whole society. If there is no such institution, as Varnashram Dharma, and if human society has no such guide as the Brahmana, human society will be hellish. In Kali Yuga, especially. At the present moment, there is no such thing as a real Brahmana, and therefore society is in a chaotic condition. And now there's a footnote here. It says, the Shastras enjoin, Tad Vikanartam Sadgurum Ivavigachet. Mundaka Upanishad 1.2.12. It is the duty of everyone to approach a Brahmana as the Guru. Okay, so we should all approach a Guru. And it says, in Kali Yuga especially, at the present moment, there is no such thing as a real Brahmana, and therefore society is in a chaotic condition. Formerly, there were qualified Brahmanas, but at present, although there are certainly persons who think themselves Brahmanas, they actually have no ability to guide society. Oh, boy. The Krishna conscious movement is therefore very much eager to reintroduce the Varnashram system into society, human society, so that those who are bewildered, the less intelligent, will be able to take guidance from qualified Brahmanas. Brahmana means Vaishnava. Okay. After one becomes a Brahmana, the next stage of development in human society is to become a Vaishnava. People in general must be guided to the destination or goal of life, and therefore they must understand Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The whole system of Vedic knowledge is based on this principle, but people have lost the clue. Nate vidu swatagatim Vishnu. And they are simply pursuing sense gratification with the risk of gliding down to a lower grade of life. Mrityu samsara vartamani. It doesn't matter whether one is born or a Brahmana or one is born as a Brahmana or not. No one is born a Brahmana. Everyone is born a Sudra. By the guidance of a Brahmana and by samskara, one can become Dvija, twice born, and then gradually become a Brahmana. Brahmanism is not a system meant to create a monopoly for a particular class of men. Everyone should be educated so as to become a Brahmana. At least there must be an opportunity to allow everyone to attain the destination of life, regardless of whether one is born in a Brahmana family, a Kshatriya family, or a Sudra family. One may be guided by a proper Brahmana and be promoted to the highest platform of being a Vaishnava. Thus, the Krishna consciousness movement affords an opportunity to develop the right destiny for human society. Nanda Maharaja took advantage of the opportunity of Gargamuni's presence by requesting him to perform the necessary reformatory activities for his sons to guide him toward the destination of life. Text 7. Are we finished now?
Yes, Maharaj. We are at time now.
We're finished?
Yes.
Okay, we'll stop at text 7 and pick it up again tomorrow. Are there any questions or comments? So the takeaway for today. Brahmana means Vaishnava. After one becomes a Brahmin, the next stage of development in human society is to become a Vaishnava. People in general must be guided to the destination or goal of life. And therefore, they must understand Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The whole system of Vedic knowledge is based on this principle. But people have lost the clue. Nate vidu swartagatim Vishnu. And they are simply pursuing sense gratification with the risk of gliding down to a lower grade of life. Mrityu samsara vartamani. It doesn't matter whether one is born in whether one is born a Brahmana or not. No one is born a Brahmana. Everyone is born a Sudra. But by the guidance of a Brahmana, by samskara, one can become Dvija, twice born, and then gradually become a Brahmana. Brahmanism is not not meant to create a monopoly for a particular class of men. Everyone should be educated so as to become a Brahmana. At least there must be an opportunity to allow everyone to attain the destination of Brahmana, regardless of whether one is born in a Brahmana family, a Kshatriya family, or a Sudra family. One may be guided by a Vaishnava. Thus, the Krishna consciousness movement affords an opportunity to develop the right destiny for human society. Nanda Maharaj took advantage of the opportunity of Gargamuni's presence by requesting him to perform the necessary reformatory activities for his sons to guide them toward the destination of life. Okay, I think we'll stop right there. So, the takeaway is Brahmana means Vaishnava. After one becomes a Brahmana, the next stage of development in human society is to become a Vaishnava. People in general must be guided to the destination or goal of life, and therefore they must understand Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The whole system of Vedic knowledge is based on this principle, but people have lost the clue. Nate vidu swartagatim Vishnu. And they are simply pursuing sense gratification with the risk of gliding down to a lower grade of life. Mrityu samsara vartamani. It doesn't matter whether one is born a Brahmana or whether one is born a Brahmana or not. No one is born a Brahmana. Everyone is born a Sudra. But by the guidance of the Brahmana and by samskara, one can become Dvija, twice born, and then gradually become a Brahmana. Brahmanism is not a system meant to create a monopoly for material class of men. Everyone should be educated so as to become a Brahmana. At least there must be an opportunity to allow everyone to attain the destination of life, regardless of whether one is born in a Brahmana family, a Kshatriya family, or a Sudra family. One may be guided by a proper Brahmana and be promoted to the highest platform of being a Vaishnava. Thus, the Krishna consciousness movement affords an opportunity to develop the right destiny for human society. Nanda Maharaja took advantage of the opportunity of Gargamuni's presence by requesting him to perform the necessary reformatory activities for his son to guide him toward the destination of life. Well, so we see now how far off the Mayavadi philosophers are. They don't believe that everyone should be educated so as to become a Brahmana. And they are very strict about following the system of, not the system, but following the system of whenever you are born, you're identified by that birth for the rest of your life. There's no such thing as being born, let's say, a Sudra and then becoming a Brahmana.
Mhm.
So
By birth classification as opposed to
yes,
purification along the way.
yeah. And by the way, that principle, which is bogus, has ruined Hinduism. Ruined, absolutely ruined, terribly. Okay, well, we'll stop right there.
Thank you. Anybody has any quick comments?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Yes, Maharaj, my question is, you just mentioned there are no real Brahmanas in Kali Yuga. So, unless they're a Vaishnava, I believe, can you expand on this comment a little bit more, if you can? Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
No one is born a Brahman. Everyone is born a Sudra. But by the guidance of a Brahmana, by the guidance of a Brahmana and by samskara, one can become Bija, twice born, and then gradually become a Brahmana. Brahmanism is not a system meant to create a monopoly for a particular class of men. That's an important statement right there. Everyone should be educated so as to become a Brahmana. At least there must be an opportunity to allow everyone to attain the destination of life, regardless of whether one is born in a Brahmana family, Kshatriya family, or a Sudra family. One may be guided by a proper Brahmana and be promoted to the highest platform of being a Vaishnava. Now, if you're a Vaishnava, you're superior to a Brahmana. So, regardless of whether one is born in a Brahmana family, a Kshatriya family, or a Sudra family, one may be guided by a proper Brahmana and be promoted to the highest platform of being a Vaishnava. Thus, the Krishna consciousness movement affords an opportunity to develop the right destiny for human society. Nanda Maharaj took advantage of the opportunity of Garga Muni's presence by requesting him to perform the necessary reformatory activities for his son to guide them toward the destination of life. So, basically, Prabhupada is saying everyone should be educated so as to become a Brahmana. At least there must be an opportunity to allow everyone to attain the destination of life, regardless of whether one is born in a Brahmana family, a Kshatriya family, or a Shudra family. One may be guided by proper Brahmana and be promoted to the highest platform of being a Vaishnava. So the position of a Vaishnava is superior to that of a Brahmana. And there's no question that people cannot become, what do we say here?
A Vaishnava.
Brahmana,
A Brahmanas.
Vaishnavas. Yeah.
I mean, anybody can become a Vaishnava irrespective of their birth position.
Yes.
So that's the highest, and that's the highest state of consciousness anyway. So whether
The Prabhupada says, thus the Krishna consciousness movement affords an opportunity to develop the right destiny for human society. What's the right destiny for human society? Everyone can become Brahmanas. And better than that, everyone can become
Vaishnavas, devotees.
Yeah. Thus, the Krishna consciousness movement affords an opportunity to develop the right destiny for human society. So, the right destiny is to become a devotee.
Haribol.
It's not necessarily Brahmana or Vaishnava or something.
Yeah.
It's to become a devotee of the Lord. Yes.
Haribol. Wonderful.